Welcome to the Grow People podcast. We believe this is episode 74. We have to do something special for the Silver Jubilee. I should have looked that up. Pastor Jason is normally here on the show. I am David Stein. The purpose of the Grow People podcast is to help grow people. Woo! Grow people. So Pastor Jason out of town this week. And instead of not doing a podcast, we thought it would be fun to do a podcast. So joining me today for his third appearance on the Grow People podcast, our young adults pastor and Canton campus pastor, Matt Hayes.
Hello.
Matt Hayes, welcome.
My voice is so not ready for and made for this like yours is. Like even listening to you talk in these headphones I'm wearing, it's like, golly, David, you should have done a career in this.
I should have.
And then you did.
Yeah. And didn't do as many voiceovers as I wanted to. That's
a shame.
I would really love to narrate a Bible.
I think we would all love for you to narrate a Bible.
But nobody is getting those gigs anymore unless they've actually written their own Bible because of AI.
All right, well, Eugene Peterson your way into that thing, and let's go, man.
It'll be
What are you doing, David?
The Revolution Bible.
Hey, I mean, I know some churches around here who did their own version. Do it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's early enough to interrupt it.
Yeah, Marcos.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's in the shot?
Oh.
No way.
Our water bottle was in the shot. Okay.
Or is it a shadow?
Yeah, the wide shot is like the whole table.
Okay. All right.
Fascinating.
Okay. Thank you, Marcos. And we're still rolling, right?
Yeah, we are. So you can use.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Marcos.
This is real.
Guardiola.
This is real stuff, real radio.
We can start over if you want.
No, I don't want to start over. That's funny.
Okay.
I didn't know our water bottle was showing.
I know. Whoopsies.
So Matt Hayes is here. We just had a conversation about game shows off the air. Your favorite was Press Your Luck.
Press Your Luck as a kid, the original one with all the whammies. Mm-hmm. And then when I was a kid during the summertime, my sister and I would do whatever we could to watch Price is Right every single day.
Yeah. That was at 10 a.m.?
I thought it was 11.
Could have been 11, yeah.
I think 11. I'd watch it at my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
Every day in the summer.
Only when we were sick and couldn't go to school.
Oh, that was the best. Yeah. You'd play, we would, if you ever had a sick day, we'd play Nintendo, the original regular Nintendo. I'm dating myself, but that's what we'd play. Mario 3 was our favorite. And then we'd have to turn it off to make sure we could watch Press Your Luck. And it was great because my sister's older. So whenever she stayed home, I was already home. So it was just a field day.
Yeah. I remember those days well. I can't actually watch Andy Griffith or I Love Lucy because it just reminds me of being sick. That's what we would do.
It's a bad connotation.
Andy Griffith, I Love Lucy, and whatever game show was on. So Matt, here a year.
Right at a year. I know.
A year?
I mean, technically a year. Yeah, at it.
But it at our all-staff meeting yesterday, Lindsay said it feels like you've been here forever. And it does. It does. It was such a seamless transition into you being here, Jesse being here. And now, like, when you guys were in Scotland, it was different here. I was like, these guys need to come back.
Just because we're loud.
Well, y'all bring a certain flavor. I do want to talk about the Scotland mission trip.
Yeah.
But first, if you have spent any time with Matt, you know he really likes you.
Oh, where are you going? Golly.
You know he really likes you if he asks you this question. What is your serial killer trait?
Oh, you're bringing that up. Wow. Yeah.
I think you asked everybody in the office.
Yeah. So the backstory, the question is, what is your secret serial killer trait?
Okay.
This is fascinating for a church podcast. You're welcome, guys. So I worked at an agency called PulsePark before coming here, kind of in between ministry, went for a year and worked in the marketplace. And my first weekend, or my first trip that I had, it was legit week 2 of the job. Day 1, 7:20 in the morning, I'm on a plane to Chicago for the Global Leadership Summit. And then week 2, I'm down to Orlando for this giant John Maxwell conference. And so we're sitting around, and I've met these people once, and there's 9 of us from the staff that are down there. And this girl, her name's Bridget, and she's one of the most creative, brilliant, genius people I've literally ever been around. So witty, and just everything was, immediate. And she looks around, she says, "All right, what's y'all's secret serial killer trait?" And I was like, "What in the world?" She goes, "Watch. People are going to answer this, and you're going to be like, I cannot believe that you do that." Because everyone's got something about them that's probably unique, a little bit quirky, a little bit off, that if it came out that you were a serial killer, it would make everyone go, "Oh, we should have known."
Yes.
They do that. Oh, my goodness.
There's your sign.
I know. Yes.
It's different than what we talked about on the last podcast, which I had to fess up that we were in a conference, a little mini conference here, and the leader of the conference asked us as the first question, "What's the strangest thing about you?" And I fessed up that I have a song that I sing about my dog.
Yes, you do.
Every time I turn right to go home, because I know I'm going to see him. Well, I was mocked mercilessly.
Yeah.
I was mocked in the meeting.
Bro,
I was
listen.
mocked on the podcast.
There's also a trend of you catching heat. I mean, this morning I rode to work with my windows all the way down. And who did I immediately think of? David Stein.
That's right, because it is that time of year.
But now whenever we get in the car and someone goes, boop, it just puts him down a little bit. Who do we think of? David Stein.
I came back from playing cornhole.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother story. I'm in a league.
Yeah. Semi-pro.
Yeah. Came back from cornhole from ball ground last night, 25-minute drive. All 4 windows down.
As you should.
And the sunroof open.
It's the time of year.
It is.
Yeah. You know what? It's not the time of year to do that, though? January, David.
But I still do it.
Good gracious.
Heat full blast.
Yeah. Maybe that's your secret serial killer trait that everyone knows.
It could be. But let me get back to my dog song. At church the following week after we did the podcast and I was mocked for having a song about my dog, 3 people. Now, this is data informed. If 3 people out of 1,000 tell you that they also have a song about their dog, that they sing with their spouse, that they sing when they're in their car alone, that they sing to the dog, and they make up words about the dog to the tune of other songs, I think that it's probably pretty common.
I think you just said that you're in the 0.3% of the population, and I don't know how common that is, David.
I'm saying if 3 people came up, how many didn't?
Fair.
How many? Okay, so what is your serial killer trait?
Golly, this is great. My wife is gonna hate this. So the one that came to mind quickly for me when they asked me, 2 years ago was, I don't. Oh my God.
I forget whether it's not.
This is so tough. It's not It's not like
okay.
bad. It's just hilarious. So I don't clip my fingernails and toenails. I use fingernail scissors. So I have like these scissors that are kind of curved. My dad had them when I was growing up. It's all we've ever used. So I use scissors to clip my nails. And I imagine if it came out that I was a serial killer, people would be like, "We should have known."
He scissor cut his nails.
That animal sits there and uses scissors. But when I say it, it sounds like I got a giant thing of Fiskars just going like Edward Scissorhands. And that's not what this is. It's not that weird. Like one girl said one time, I love salads. Like I love a really good salad, but I hate salad dressing. I'm like, you eat a full salad with no dressing, you're a bunny. Like, no, that's... To me, that was odd. I was like, that's a really good one. Mm-hmm. It's unique. Nothing wrong with it. But like, if there was something about you, we go, oh yeah, remember that girl? Remember how weird she was?
Yeah.
She like anti-salad dressing, but loves salads?
Yeah.
Strange.
Barbarian.
So if that's you, I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We need to do a little check on your personal life.
Yeah. Mine may be weird. I arrange my clothing in the closet alphabetically by country of origin.
Shut up, dude. That's not real. Stop it.
I don't do that.
That's golly.
But they are arranged by color.
I just changed mine to go from type, from like t-shirt, polo, button up, long sleeve, hoodie, to color of all the things. I did like 3 weeks ago. I changed it that way.
Oh no, mine's by color by category.
Oh, okay.
So t-shirts, the black shirts, all 12 of them, and then the 6 gray ones.
Yeah.
There is an orange one, but I never wear it.
No, as you shouldn't.
No.
Listen, Jason's not here. We can say it. There's nothing good about the color orange.
Wow.
There's just not.
Okay.
As a Georgia fan, there's nothing. And we got Tennessee this weekend. Listen, all Tennessee fans, all they do on Saturday mornings, they just get out of the deer stand and go straight to the game. They don't have to change. They don't have to do anything else. They're just ready for it.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Yep.
Sorry, love you, Tennessee fans.
No,
not this week.
I made the mistake of saying on the pregame show for the national championship game in 2015 that Clemson had a better orange than Texas.
That's not. I don't know that that's a mistake.
Little did I know, Jason was listening. Pastor Jason was listening.
Yeah. Say it with your chest, David.
Okay, my serial killer trait is if there is candy that you eat by the handful. So your Skittles, your M&Ms, your I don't even know Milk Duds. I have to have 3 at a time.
Mike,
3 at a time in my mouth.
it's a little OCD.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it might be OCD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But odd.
it is odd.
Yeah.
It is odd. Well, what if you only have 2 left? Then I open up another bag. Open up another box of Milk Duds.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
No.
I'm terrified of the comments I'm going to get on Sunday of, oh my gosh, here's mine. Like, I didn't want to know that.
Yeah. That's what happens in radio. For 34 years, people coming up to me in a shopping center or a grocery store with some random thing that I may have said 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's going to happen to you forever.
Great. Thanks, man.
Matt is also, we got your CV last time. We got your curriculum vitae.
I don't even know what you just said.
It's more than a resume. It's your life story.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah, your life.
I shared some stories.
Yes. We did not talk about fantasy sports.
Okay.
And you are a big fantasy sport fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
Since when?
Since 1997.
Whoa.
So I was 11 years old, and I was 11 years old, and we were down, this is wild. We were down in Albany, Georgia, which is where my parents are from. And my grandfather had just passed away.
Mm-hmm.
We were down there for his funeral. And it was in the spring, and it was right before baseball started. And so I was at the library. Y'all, I can't, because I wanted to get on the internet and go look up sports stuff. And there was a website called fantasybaseballmanager.com. Real creative there. And so I started playing fantasy baseball, and then it turned into football and basketball, and now it's turned into golf. I've done NASCAR. It's just what I love. It's my hobby.
Are you in multiple leagues right now?
Again, my wife is going to die when I talk about this. So currently I have 3 dynasty football teams. I'm in the staff league now for football. I've got 3 baseball teams, one of which is a dynasty league that's 30 teams, a 30-team league. I'm in 2 basketball leagues. One of them's a 30-team league. I do fantasy golf on the weekly. That one's fun. You do that too.
I do fantasy golf, yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot. In college, there was probably 4 times that.
Oh my.
I know, man.
You have 5 kids.
I didn't in college.
But now you do.
I do. And so I have me paring down to that much. But yeah. So I used to have my own fantasy sports website. Created that, ran that for about a year and a half, parlayed that into writing for
Parlay.
I know you like that.
Yeah.
Into writing for a fantasy sports website, like a more reputable one that actually had followers and readers. I think there may have been 3 people who read mine. Part of the association, did all that for a little while, and then realized this just isn't. It's not worth my time. So I went back to school instead of writing for fantasy. Started writing more for a second master's.
And we're glad you went to school.
I know it was fun.
We're glad you did. I think I've told you my fantasy sports story.
You got a lot of stories, David.
It's
only episode 74. How many do we want to go until we get this one?
I don't know I don't think I've ever told this.
Come on.
And I have 0 regrets about this. There are career moves that I have a little bit of regret.
Sure.
It was 2004, 2005. I'm working at Fox Sports Radio doing the morning show, the national morning show. And my boss, vice president of Fox Sports, comes in and says to me, now, I know really nothing about sports. I was there because I was a host and was able to quarterback it and hand off. I was more of an old school Georgia Tech triple option quarterback. I mean, I could run with the ball, but I'm usually just handing it off.
Sure.
So he says, hey, I'd like you to host a brand new show that we're going to run on weekends. And it's not going to take up a lot of your time. It's called a fantasy football show.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think so. And he goes, look, just give it a try. We're going to bring in this young guy. He's just getting started in fantasy sports. His name is Matthew Berry.
TMR.
And I turned it down.
Wow.
Next thing you know, Matthew Berry is the king of fantasy sports.
20 years later.
And anything that had to do with Matthew Berry and fantasy sports was picked up immediately and just blew up.
Yeah.
So that was my
whoopsie daisies.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
No, I think if I have like free time, it's the game I choose to play. So I used to play video games as a kid, would play like through college, got married, that slowed down significantly because that's what should happen when you get married, everyone. But I've just replaced the time or thoughts that I would with like a video game into sports. And the main reason why I love fantasy sports is because it's created such an opportunity to maintain connections and friendships with my close friends from college.
Right.
So I'm in a lot of leagues with like people literally around the world. Some of them are. But the primary people that I play with are some of my best friends from college that I don't know that we would stay nearly as connected 15, 20 years later if we hadn't been having this thread together.
And intentionally, he's tying that into the R and grow, building relationships through groups, teams, and fantasy sports.
Cool, man. Let's do it. I'm in. Sign me up.
So if you're a regular listener of the podcast, you know that Pastor Jason and I talk about absolutely nothing for the first 15, 20 minutes. So right on track. We're at the 18-minute mark. As the dual role that you have, and many other roles, because you speak into a lot of stuff here, young adults and Canton campus pastor. We have not had you on since the young adult mission trip to Scotland.
Yeah.
I heard that was incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it was amazing. The wildest part for me was I'm being a pastor for 17, 18 years now, and growing up around the church. It was actually the first mission trip that I'd ever gone on, which is wild.
That is.
I had like 7 different opportunities and then it never worked out. Now living in Costa Rica for 3 months, studying abroad, living in like local homestays, and there's barely enough electricity to run the power in their kitchen. I experienced the immersion that can happen through the communities. I've done it before, but this was incredible. The people there were amazing. The opportunity of what we got to do and go help was amazing, but it's also crazy because it's a totally different context from what you would associate a lot of like global mission trips with. Because everyone speaks your language. Yeah. There is no other side of the language barrier. And in a lot of ways, there's not even the other side of a cultural barrier. There's so many similarities culturally to Scotland and here that it allowed us to expedite the connection with people to where when we came in and helped, it wasn't, it was just a different, like nuanced dynamic. So we came in and helped in these different areas and they were, I think surprised by the kindness of us choosing to just come help and just come help them.
Very skeptical country.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that was so surprising. So in the lead up and learning more about Scotland, it's not just kilts, bagpipes, and the home of golf.
Scotland, but it is those things.
Oh, it is those things, yeah. And we saw a lot of those things. Didn't get to play any golf, but the craziest part is historically, Scotland has sent out more missionaries around the world than any other country in the world, historically. And yet now, Scotland is considered an unreached people group.
Crazy.
It's not even considered post-Christian. It's considered pre-Christian.
Yeah, let that sink in. it is an unreached people group.
Yeah.
So when we're watching the Scottish Open,
Right.
we're watching a first world country doing a technologically advanced thing, broadcasting a golf tournament.
Right.
But they're an unreached people group, not like the unreached people groups we see in Northwest Kenya.
Right. It's totally different. Yeah. And it's different also because of the context as to why they're an unreached people group and why there's such a small percentage of Christian faith in the country. So for the last 3 generations, they've just consistently been dropping off of anything thriving of faith, to where now the country is less than 3%, around 2% would identify as Christian.
So it's taken less than 100 years, 3 generations.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I tried to figure out, like, why? What's the thing? What triggered that? How do we, I mean, for the sake of America and for our country, our culture, how do we make sure that we don't get to that point? And really, they talked about this, like, just malaise, this apathy that became towards faith, as well as some ideological things happening, some sociological things happening, some political things happening. So all of them, what someone told me when we were there is, for you to sit down with a 17-year-old in Scotland and tell them that there is a God who loves them, and that the God of heaven, the creator of the universe, that he loves them, that he sent Jesus for them. They're like, you understand that the same thing of you saying that, that's like you telling me that Zeus is real and Zeus loves me. Like they associate all of the religious type of things with that. So the personal, the relational, the reality of what, of him knowing and wanting a relationship with you is so foreign in their brain because of how they've been taught religion in school, and because of the lack of thriving faith of what it looks like. It's just become this historical, like museum, like the place where we went to in Doune, Scotland. There is a very large, like old architecture looking church in the town, and it was up for auction because it hasn't been used in years, and it was like dilapidated. That's more consistent than to find anything that would have like a thriving community. But what's crazy is we went up to this place called Kiltarlity, Scotland, up north in like Inverness, north of near the Highlands. And the church there had probably 80 to 100 people who would show up to it. And it was considered, it's like right on the outskirts of town, and a lot of the families around there would go there. But the people who go there, who love Jesus, who are in that 2%, this is wild in our context. We met a girl who, she had 5 kids. We were like, hey, we get that. She was, mid-30s, and her husband lived 15 minutes away, but were going to this church in Kiltarlity and decided, we need to move so that we can be near this church. And then me and Larson, my wife, were like, you're 15 minutes away. How are you? You are close.
Yes.
But for them, it's like, no, wherever that church is, that is your community. That's where you're doing life. That's where you're experiencing all these things together.
Yes.
And so they're, walking to church and experiencing that. So they moved to within a 2-minute little drive to the church so they could be a part of that church. That was a fascinating reality of the relational dynamic that exists, and I think the community aspect of what people are finding in the churches, because it's not culturally accepted.
Yeah.
It's not cultural Christianity.
I always tell people, move close to the church and commute to work.
Yeah.
If you're going to stay at a church, be within the confines of the community of the church, because you will need that community more than you need a short drive to work.
Well, and when we were, so when we left the church I was at before, we had an opportunity to move to Athens. I think I shared this last time. And we had a friend challenge us.
Do you like Athens?
It would have been great. I think that, heaven touches earth in Eden and Athens in some ways. But we had a guy in our small group. His name's Denny Faircloth. And Denny challenged kind of my thinking about going there. And he's like, listen, I'm never going to go and move for a job. I'm not. I'm going to move wherever I want to live around the people that I want to live around. So what community do I want my kids in? Who are my people? I want to be around them and live life with them. And so in our context, we would say that is through the life of the church that you find those relationships, you find that community. He said, I'm going to find where I want to live and then figure out what work looks like around that. And so whether it's driving further to a job or it's changing my job because I found community, it's just reprioritizing what matters most as opposed to uprooting my family to go and find something because of some opportunity. I know that a lot of people do that, and I know that that's kind of the standard and the norm in our country and in our society. But when he challenged me with that thought, it was the first time that I was like, oh, wait a minute. What if finding my people is more important than finding a little bit more of a salary or finding a little bit more of a title? What if that's actually more valuable for me to build a rhythm of my life around is the people? So it's just a different way of thinking.
Again, the R in grow.
I know.
How important is it? And, in God's sovereignty, you stayed put.
Yeah.
And he brought you here 8 minutes away from your house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Very kind.
Yes.
I'm very, very grateful. Yeah.
And for was this before you moved into that house, or were you still living on my street and we didn't know each other?
No, we moved in March of 22. Legitimately if you're a homeowner or want to be a homeowner or an adult in any capacity, you remember the madness of the housing market 2021, 22. So I sold our house in Harmony in January of 22 on the phone while I was in Alabama at a student camp. And I was like, yep, signed all the things on the phone because it was just moving so fast.
Yeah, that's what you had to do.
And then, we found a house, the house we're in now, 2 weeks after we looked at another house that we were like, oh, this is great, but it's out of our range. Like, let's make a lowball offer. Let's see. It's been on the market for like 7 days and nothing's on the market for a week. Maybe something's wrong. And so that didn't happen. And in that 2 week time, the interest rates jumped like, I don't know, 1/4 point. And I remember being so mad. Like, now our mortgage rate's going to be this and like this. And if it was just 2 weeks earlier, golly, like what in the world? And then within another 2 weeks, it jumped like a full point. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take it. Thank you. So March 22, we moved into our house. And then the decision of like, do we leave? Do we move? Do we stay? All that was about a year later. So we had established the roots of community where we currently are before that, which was, again, just his sovereignty, his kindness.
And that's, look, I'm joking about all bringing it back to the R and grow, but that's why we want people to be in groups. Yep. That's why we want them to go through the cohort. We want them to get into formation groups. I'm meeting my formation group today, and we're going to get into it. That's the beauty of the formation group. There's nothing fancy about it. It's, hey, how are you working your rule of life? How's that going for you? You said you were going to do this. How's that going?
Right.
And hey, what are you reading in the Bible? Oh, I'm reading 1 Corinthians. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll be for a while.
Yeah. And some of the Psalms.
Yeah.
And so what's God speaking to you about? It's that simple.
Yeah. And it comes with a posture of, I think so many times we're hesitant to do that because of A, we don't want to be vulnerable. And B, we feel like it's going to take away from something. Like there's a withdrawal in my week, in my rhythm, in my schedule to go and do that. But really what you're doing is you're putting people around you who can just say, hey, how can I help? Like when you ask that question, when you're in your formation group, you're not Pastor David.
No, I am not.
You're just David. And so when that hat is off, now whenever you ask that question, it's not from a sense of like, I'm checking up on you or I'm trying to like, push you or urge you, like the authority isn't there. It's truly with the posture of, I'm asking you this because I want to say afterwards, and how can I help? Is there something I can do to help you, to encourage you, to come alongside you? Not
the church.
And that like flat level of we're all in this together is really the beauty of whenever you find your people. You need your people. Find your people.
So this family found their people in Kiltarlity,
Scotland.
So what did we do? What is the purpose of us going to Scotland?
Yeah, so we are trying to partner with a lot of missional work that's already starting to happen, like on the ground level in Scotland. So one of those organizations is called Caledonian Collective. Becca and Jonathan Lindsay are some friends of ours in our network. They're out of like Westridge and Cross Point City. And so they moved over 4 years ago and they bought a hotel in Scotland, an old hotel. Like, here's a bar, there's a pub, here's a restaurant, there's a kitchen, and then there's rooms you could stay in. It's an inn. But it was run down and not good. And so they bought it and remodeled the whole thing. And so now, instead of it being an inn for people that go to Doune, it operates as a place for to house people going over there to do ministry work.
Wow.
So we partner with them, and their whole thing, Caledonian Collective, is to connect with communities and churches across Scotland. So what churches are trying to thrive and what's happening in communities, how can we bridge those two things to try to give this foundational start to Christian faith? So we partner with them. So going to the church, the Free Church in Kiltarlity, going to that church was connected to Caledonian Collective. We also got to help out in Doune at their primary school. They had this garden area where the kids will go and do outdoor stuff, but it had just been overrun for years. And there were like 6 different sections. So we went in with our team of, we had 4 adult leaders and then a bunch of young adults that were on the trip. And Marcos, who made a cameo.
Yes.
If we keep that in, Marcos is with us. But we went and just basically remodeled and did all the landscaping to redo and make right these garden areas. So now when those kids at the school in Doune go to school, they can actually go and have class outside, that they can go and experience all these things because of the work we were able to go do, that no one in the community and that no funding provided like locally, governmentally was going to be there for.
See, that's incredible. And they're just blown away that you guys traveled so far just to help.
We just want to help. We just want to go and love on them. And so then we got to go through the town of Doune and go to the local shops and meet the people and like support them by buying their stuff at the antique store or going to the coffee shop or going in and seeing the vintage record, whatever, like just connecting with people, trying to build relationships. So that's one. Young Life in Scotland, we're trying to build a relationship with them as well and help them. Because
and
they're one of the...
What is Young Life for folks that don't know?
So Young Life is it's like a para-ministry that does a lot of work with students. So their whole thing is really to do discipleship and to build relationships with students. But the cool thing about Young Life exists here. Many of you probably either grew up experiencing stuff in Young Life or you've heard of it, but Young Life in Scotland is one of the only organizations that really has an ability to get into schools. The schools are not open for a lot of faith-based things to happen, but Young Life is able to do that in a lot of ways. So they've got, through their relationships, they're trying to build, like walking alongside these students, because it's one kid in class may actually be a Christian, but they'll never say it and they'll never talk about it because everyone else will be like, what? I mean, they will be socially persecuted, not physically, but you will become an outcast. And so trying to figure out how we can partner with other churches there, other organizations there, so that we can start to bring the gospel and bring Jesus into this country that desperately needs him.
That is just remarkable. And when we do things like that, it's because you listening and the rest of our church are generous.
I know. I mean, honestly,
to think, and this is my passion. It should be every Christian's passion because Jesus kind of wanted it to be.
Sure.
But bringing the gospel to those who haven't heard.
Yeah. And I think the unique thing about Scotland that I think is so fascinating is they've heard it, but they haven't heard it. They've heard an intellectual, like no one there is going to be like, Jesus? What? How do you say that? They have they have a knowledge. And like Christmas. So my wife is going back with a group of women in December to Doune to do a lot of work in the community and help, because they celebrate Christmas bigger than almost we do. Like it's a thing.
Wow.
But there's no connection. Like I talked to someone who was over there, and they said that it took them a year till they were a teenager. They didn't understand that the Jesus of Christmas is the same Jesus in the Bible. Like there's just this gap of connection, understanding. Yeah. Oh, that's what this is.
Yeah.
So you get to go and break that down. It's not that you're talking to people that are a full clean slate. Mm-hmm. There's some conception, but it's a misconception or like a half truth or a half understanding. So it's just a different type of work. You're just trying to slowly build relationships and trust to see that, like, hey, we're not trying to, shove this down your throat. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to, beat this into you. But there's going to be something different about our posture. And the difference is the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. And that we just want to come and help, love on y'all, and do what we can.
It just struck me, when we go to Kenya, we're bringing food, medical supplies, water, build a place for them to meet instead of a tree.
Right.
Go to Scotland, you're just bringing yourself.
Yeah.
And serving.
And that posture of kindness, like we met this one guy who was, he was like a barista at this one place. We stopped on the side of the road on a 3-hour bus ride up to the Highlands. And he's from Australia. And as we walk in with our, 16 Americans, it's obviously staggering of like, whoa, okay, y'all are not from here. But you could hear from his accent, like, bro, you ain't from here either. Mm-hmm. And I remember hearing him make a comment about like, oh yeah, like y'all, there's I think it was an unexpected kindness or an unanticipated kindness to be able to show that and doing it in a smart way, doing it in a respectful way.
Yeah. Because
we're not coming in bringing our culture and our expectation of how things go. We are assimilating to, okay, this is how y'all do things. This is how you, these are the expectations you have of people. So we're going to be respectful to that. We're going to come alongside that. And we're just going to like silently be here and help you and try to make things better so that you can go and do what only you can do in this area.
When we go to Kenya, we're out in the desert. We're eating lentils, rice, chapati, which is kind of like a tortilla. Mm-hmm. What's the fare in Scotland?
It was amazing. This is not hyperbole. Like I love to cook. I think if I didn't do this, I'd probably do something in food, if not fantasy sports.
Fantasy chef.
I don't know, man. Yeah, we'll figure something out. But hands down, Marcos, you can agree in the back, the single best dessert I think I've ever had in my life.
What?
I had in Kiltarlity. This local guy made sticky toffee pudding. And
which ironically.
Oh man. It was like I went back for seconds. Everyone, I mean, we would have been licking the plate if it wasn't disrespectful. And then that night, Jackson Curtis, Jason's son, who's on the trip with us, stayed at that guy's house. And he was like, dude, that sticky toffee pudding was so good. And he was like, I got more. And he's, are you serious? So Jackson had more that night afterwards. To the point where Jonathan Lindsay, who runs the Red Lion, the inn we stayed in, he does a lot of the cooking for everyone. And he was like, I was going to do sticky toffee pudding for y'all, but not anymore because y'all are all talking about how great this was. I got to get his recipe. It was so good. Haggis is another thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Which apparently we would not be able to make or sell here because of like rules and laws of how they do cooking and different things.
Is it sheep intestines?
It is. They call it, what do they call it? Bits and bops or something, like the things you don't want to talk about. But basically it's all of the leftovers. They cook into this like sausage. But I had a burger. It was a venison burger with haggis. And it was amazing. So I'm sure you can get some really bad haggis, but we had some great haggis in Kiltarlity from some of the locals.
After the person who wins the Masters comes back, he gets to plan the meal.
Yeah.
So Sandy Lyle, when he won the Masters, he's from Scotland, he put on the menu at the Champions Dinner haggis. Now, there were other things.
I was about to say, it's like when Matsuyama won and it was sushi for the very first time, like you bring it with you. Let's go. It's not like Bubba Watson's mac and cheese and chicken fingers, though.
No. And I remember the story. Arnie loved it.
Dude, it was so
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember hearing like, oh, not good, but it was amazing. The food was great.
So what else is going on in young adults? And then I do want to shift into First Corinthians
Yeah.
because you're preaching this weekend as Pastor Jason is away. And then in October, we're both preaching, like not at the same time.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we can tag team.
we could. That would be awesome.
We would just do this on stage.
Yes.
Yeah. It'd be like Letterman's thing, right? It's just an interview. Yeah.
Yeah.
My next guest is
Paul.
so- yeah. Here he is.
Sosthenes.
And Jason, you'll hear this weekend. You totally missed an easy way. Like just the way you were saying it. It sounded like something totally different to me. But that's for this weekend. And young adults, we just began a year-long journey where we're walking through the Sermon on the Mount.
I love that.
So we met this past Sunday night, and it was great. We've kicked off. We have 6 different small groups that are happening with young adults. We're starting to get young adults serving in young adults. I really want it to be something that's not just for them, but it's by them. So trying to make sure that it feels like this is the fingerprint of young adults. It's not just Sunday morning transferred to Sunday night. It's not just students that's graduated to this next thing. Like it's a very unique style and fingerprint. So by walking through the Sermon on the Mount, what I explain to them is, if you look at the Bible Project's words that I love is it's one unified story that leads to Jesus. It's all Jesus. So in the Old Testament, it's all pointing to Jesus. And the New Testament is all showing about how he lived. And so really, if you break it down, you got the Old Testament pointing to him, the Gospels talking about his life, and the rest of the New Testament is a commentary on that life that he lived and how we should live it. So within the Gospels, in the center of this, of how he lived, we have his most famous sermon, the Sermon on the Mount, where he talks about how to actually live this life. So if there is a blueprint of how we should live, it's found in Matthew 5-7.
Yes.
So we're going to walk through it for this like school year. And it was a really fun conversation to get started, and we'll keep it going in October.
I love it. Young adults, generally the first Sunday of the month, but there are holidays, there are things that
Yeah, we try to get a little strategic with it, where it's if there are holidays, if there's stuff going on in a school calendar, if there's stuff going on in the church calendar, honestly, like if we've got, I'm not going to do it the same weekend as Give a Kid a Chance. That just would be brutal on everybody. So October the 12th is the next one. And then we kind of scatter them throughout once a month.
Cool. That's awesome. 18 to 25.
Yep.
If you know them, send them.
Yeah.
If you are one, go.
Yeah. Would love to have you come hang out.
First Corinthians, as we segue into the last portion of today's podcast.
There we go.
Pastor Jason started it out with a really, I thought it was a cool message because it had a question. What is your for? Because he got into Paul writing this letter to the Corinthians, this church that he planted 18 months earlier, went back to Acts for the actual church planting, and God says, hey, go do this, for I'm with you. And then the question was, what is your for? I thought that was very provoking.
Yeah, it was. I think the idea of ending on a question is also something that I've started to do more. I think there's a posture, especially with young adults, the idea of like, hey, don't tell me what to do. There's this aversion to authority in a lot of ways that younger generations have. And so a lot of times what I'll say intentionally is, hey, I'm not telling you what to think, but here's something to think about. And so by ending with a question and triggering kind of your brain to get into the point of wondering, what is my for? And then what you can do is always see, and how does that align to God's?
Yeah, what's my because?
That's right.
Think about it as, what is my because?
Yeah.
I'm doing this. I'm living my life because.
Yeah. I want to make sure that a lot of language I've been using lately is around like motivation. What is my main motivation?
Right.
And how much of that is driven from selfish versus how much of that is driven from faithfulness? Is this aligned with God's, with what he's motivated by, with what he calls me to do? So it's a great indicator of kind of a check light on your dashboard of like, are we going the right direction? Where are you giving your most time and attention to? Where are you giving your most thoughts to? What do you really care about? What are you really motivated by? And that's really what that question is, what you're for.
It's interesting what we do as pastors, whether it's premarital counseling, postmarital counseling, or any type of pastoral care. It's, hey, does this line up with God's word?
Mm-hmm.
Can you take your life and say, oh yeah, this is exactly what God intends, God said to do. I am in obedience with God. I may be making some slip ups here and not following him over here, but generally my life lines up with Scripture. Mm-hmm. And when it doesn't, it's glaring. Mm-hmm. But as you said, people don't want to be told that they're wrong.
It's the I think the visual that I use a lot of just getting you to think differently about it is I'll take, this isn't a Bible. That's sacrilegious, but we're going to say it is for this moment. Or give me your paper. Give me something.
It's a mug.
It is. But like a lot of times what we try to do is fit the Bible if you're watching on YouTube.
That's what I was hoping you were going to do.
If you want to watch on YouTube, I look like an idiot right now.
No. It's an illustration that you used in a sermon.
Yeah. What we want to do by default is try to fit the Bible into our lives. Mm-hmm. How do I get this to fit into what I'm doing? Instead of putting this, on the ground and standing on it and saying, my job is not to fit the Bible into my life. My job is to fit my life into the Bible. So if what God is saying is aligned with how I'm living, then I know that there's something of obedience that is occurring. If how I'm living is out of line, if it's misaligned, then we got to get some alignment back, so that we can operate and thrive in the way into the life that he wants for you to live. I think that's the big thing.
And that ties into what you're doing in young adults. Yeah. It ties into Voices, which was foundational for our church. And that's, I wish we could add, we could, another family culture statement. I would say as a member of our family, R being the letter R, that we listen to the voice of the shepherd and not the voice of the stranger.
Yeah.
And if we're trying to align our life up with Scripture, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. Are we listening to the voice of the shepherd? What does the voice of the shepherd say about marriage? What does the voice of the shepherd say about loving your neighbor? What does the voice of the shepherd say about caring for others with humility and considering yourselves not as important as the other folks?
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's a posture, if I can kind of and one, even in the last point of, and even the fact that God's fours are greater than your fears. Mm-hmm. That's a motivation thing. Are you driven by fears, or are you driven by what he's doing?
Right.
But I think there's so much in the character of God that people, I wish people understood more. In that the idea of love, like we say, God is love. But a lot of times that feels like frilly and easy and cheesy and over your head. But the deeply personal piece of that, in order for you to love someone, you have to be for them. If I want something from you, I'm not loving you. Because at the end of the day, all of my interactions towards you, if I'm needing something from you, aren't about you, they're about me. That's prideful. Mm-hmm. And pride is the opposite of love. So if I am for you, if I'm truly for you, I don't need anything from you, that's the only way that I can hold that posture. And so seeing that God does these things for us shows us he loves us. He's not requiring, he doesn't need these things from us. It's an opportunity we have to truly be with him because he's for us. And so it's a barometer of how you're living. Are you living in ways where you're interacting with people and ultimately doing this because you want or need something from them? Or are you doing this because you're truly able to give something for them? Mm-hmm. It's just a different barometer.
It is. As men, and let's take off our pastor hat, put on our man hat. We're just dudes. Our affection wanes and waxes. Mm-hmm. And over the course of your 18-year career in ministry and then being out of ministry and in the secular world and then back in ministry, how has your affection to what God has for you changed?
Oh, wow. I remember when I was younger, especially my 20s, whenever suffering would come, I would just want to get out of it as fast as possible. And I think that's the default position of people, period. whenever we have pain, what we want to do is we want to take some kind of painkiller. We want to take something to ease or abate the pain. Whenever we have a cut, all we want is a Band-Aid. We don't want to figure out, well, what caused this and how do I... And like in scripture, when it says I rejoice in my suffering, I'm going to be like, bro, you're out of your mind. Like that's your serial killer trait. You know what I mean? But I think that the older I've gotten and the further I've gone along, the more I understand and realize that pain and growth are synonymous. And so my affection for him has grown more in the seasons where the storm is overhead. It's grown more in the seasons where I am more desperate. I have more destitution. I need him. And so I don't look for the suffering.
No.
I don't ask for it. I don't seek it out in a masochistic way. But instead of, there was a question at Young Adults on Sunday that I answered that was similar to this. But when suffering comes, I've gone to the point of choosing to embrace it instead of escaping it. And it's weird to associate that with your question of my affection for him. But I've just seen time and time again through my suffering, his faithfulness and how trustworthy he is and how present he is and how on the other side of that storm, on the other side of that long night of the soul, I've always grown more. So like what happened to me and my family 2.5 years ago was horrible. A grenade was thrown into our life and the shrapnel went everywhere. But the other day I was thinking about it. But I wouldn't want to, I don't wish I could go back and work where I used to work. I don't want anything of what was blown up. God has grown and evolved and matured so much within me and reoriented so much within me that I am grateful that he was willing to do whatever it took to capture my attention and elevate my affections. That's his fundamental kindness. So that's a lesson I learned in my early 20s that has continued to play out now. Very beginning of ministry. It's continued to play out for the last 18 years of one of my great friends, one of my closest friends, Stephen Costardi, the other day was telling me about this interaction he had with Brent Harrison.
Yes.
Some spiritual direction he was getting. And the
language,
Brent's amazing. But the language he used, that Brent used with Stephen was in this vision kind of image he was having him create Stephen in his own head. He said, now I want you to envision that Jesus just walked out. And the language was, and look at how beautiful he is. And I don't know that in my earlier years of following Jesus, I would have understood how beautiful he is because I associate the word beauty with physical. But how beautiful he is, meaning just like the purity and the goodness and the kindness of his character, it is beautiful. And the more that I see that, the more that I experience that, the more that I want him. The more that I desire him, the more I cherish him, and so then the more the affection rises. Makes sense?
It makes great sense.
Yeah.
Last year I was about as low as you could get, and walking through the dark night of the soul.
Yeah,
and Brent, who is my counselor and one of the counselors that we send people out to, he said, "Are you sitting with Jesus in this?" And I said, some of the time.
Yeah.
Other times I'm sitting in my thoughts.
Yeah.
And we hadn't done the Voices series yet. So
I'm sitting with a clenched fist and not happy.
And in a very similar way, he said, hey, when you're sad, when you're grieving, be intentional about sitting with Jesus in that. Because it won't just be his arms. It won't just be his love. It'll be his beauty that you will feel, that you will see.
Yeah. And it becomes overwhelming. Like in the same way that when I look at a sunset, sunsets and mountains are like my thing in nature. When I look at a sunset,
that's a serial killer trait.
I am overwhelmed by the beauty that I'm viewing. And I think that's similar. I'm overwhelmed by your character. I'm overwhelmed by your presence. I'm overwhelmed by the beauty of who you are, and that just continues to elevate. And what it does is it elevates within me a sense of gratitude. I don't believe that you can have gratitude and ingratitude at the same time. And I think in a lot of ways, gratitude is a choice. So when I choose to remember what is true and I choose to elevate gratitude, the ingratitude and the difficulty starts to fade. I went to a funeral on Monday for an old leader of mine, and it was at the place where I used to work. And so having to go back there was really tough.
Oh, I can't imagine.
It was zero fun.
I actually didn't know you were going there,
yeah.
or I would have prayed, I would have prayed for you.
No, man, it's what we all go through stuff, right? So I'm sitting there and running through the gambit of all the emotions in the room, but primarily of the fact that this man, Mark Holder, if you go to the Hickory Flat Chick-fil-A, you'll see Mark Holder, you lit up our life. Like he was one of the greatest people that I've been around. One of the greatest Georgia fans I've ever met. The 2 posters from the national championships in my office. Yeah. Mark gave them to me from the national championship we went to. But I watched this man serve in students and in our college ministry so much. And he would show up early because he was going to serve in production. And his high school daughter would show up with him. And she was so excited to hang out around her dad. And so I talked to Steven, my friend, about this, and he said, I thought the same thing. That when I think of someone like Mark Holder, my thought goes to, I want to be a dad like him, who when my girls and my kids are teenagers, they want to be around me and hang out with me. And so I'm in this room that I used to lead in, and that all these memories and all this pain and all this difficulty. And it's the reminder I'm able to look at, but we're talking about Mark, and we're talking about who this man is and the impact he's made on all these people, regardless of relationally what's going on. And you elevate gratitude for what God has done and the opportunity you had to learn from this man who is serving underneath you, but he is teaching you just by his life. And that choice in the midst of what could feel like suffering, it pulls you out. It doesn't change the circumstance. It doesn't change the room. It doesn't make the storm leave, but it anchors you as the wind continues to blow to where you're like, I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I can do hard things. That's what I told my kids when I got home that night. Like, hey, I did a hard thing today, and you can do hard things too.
And what an excellent example of that. And yeah, it's a choice. Erwin McManus, a pastor out in California, preached a message talking about brain science and how scientists have figured out that gratitude is the lubricant for the brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine
scientifically,
imagine a brain without gratitude.
Yeah.
How would a brain without
withers.
that? It wouldn't function.
Yeah. It's an awful life. Not having that.
Yeah.
Living a life of just bitterness.
Yes.
It's an awful life. And the more that so at young adults, I'll teach. And then after I teach, one of the things I do is I say, all right, that's what I talked about. What do you want to know? So we do a Q&A in the room every time. And there's always 3-4 questions. And a lot of the questions come from the same people every time. And I'm like, all right, not you tonight. I need someone else. But one of the questions had to do with the idea of suffering. And it was how do I make sure I'm, actually like stepping into it versus like looking for it. And one of the things I tell them, just the reality of when you choose to find gratitude in all the seasons that you're in and in everything you're navigating, like it really does lead to a better life. It's awful to have to just sit in your pain, because then the moment I sit in my pain, by default, what's going to happen is it's going to like leach out into everything else around me. And the language I gave them was, you just need to understand that you have control over your own well-being. Like if you're listening right now and you're in the middle of a storm, what I want to tell you is you own the keys to your emotional well-being. They're yours. And when things happen to you from the outside that you didn't ask for, it feels like somebody took the keys. And now they own control over your response and your emotional well-being. And you have the full power to take the keys back. And so whenever your mind goes to those moments of pain or difficulty or anger or whatever it is, I literally have gotten to the point where I just say, they're not worth my time. You're not worth my time. So I'm not going to give you any more thoughts. Because the reality is, they're not thinking about you. Whoever did whatever that thing was to you, they're not thinking about you. Right. So get to the point where you can say, I'm not going to think about you anymore.
Amen.
And that control of our choice for gratitude, I think, is it ultimately, to tie your first question, it's a way that for me continues to elevate my affection because I see in those moments that he meets me there.
I have spent a lot of time reading, praying about suffering. And I always go back to, and this will wrap it up. I always go back to Pastor Jason's message on Mother's Day. I want to say it was 2018.
Look at that recall, man. Did you ever watch the show White Collar?
Oh, I love White Collar.
That was a Mozzie moment right there.
It was.
Yeah, that recall was wild. Wow.
Loved Mozzie. He's passed away.
No, I know, dude.
Yeah. That was a bummer.
That was a bummer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good show.
Mother's Day 2018.
Yeah, Mother's Day 2018. He preached a message on suffering. Interesting Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And it was Romans 5. And he used the verse, rejoice in the suffering. And I'll never forget him saying, it's not that the suffering's good. It's not. And
this isn't enjoyable.
Yeah. And we're not throwing up this fake Christian, hey, it's all good. Yeah. You walk into church, how you doing? Great.
Yeah, why don't you shut your face and tell me what's really going on?
It's exactly what you said about gratitude. And it's also understanding that someday Jesus is going to reverse that suffering.
Yeah.
And Paul is getting at, hey, we can rejoice in the suffering. Number one, it'll go better. But also, Jesus will reverse the suffering.
Yeah, it's the in that conversation I had with Stephen earlier this week, he talked about how so many times we talk about the salvation that Jesus brings, but part of that salvation is also healing. And he doesn't just save you, he wants to heal you.
Yes. And
allowing yourself to lay yourself down for him to do the healing work. Because this is what I'll use a lot in counseling, but if I go to a doctor and there's something wrong inside of my body, or maybe you like to brush things under the rug. This is really where it comes out. So we just want to brush things under the rug. I just want harmony. I just want it to feel good. Like, let's just not deal with it.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah, but whenever but what that does is it doesn't disappear. Right. It's not like water and it evaporates. It just builds a mass underneath the surface of that rug. So with your body, whenever you have a mass underneath the surface of something, that's called a tumor. And a lot of times those can be malignant and they'll take you out. So what God does is he says, there's something inside of you that's taking you out. So we have to let God be the surgeon and take the scalpel and cause pain on the outside so that he can get into what's killing you on the inside and remove it before it kills you. It's going to be painful, but it's going to heal you and save you. But you can't ever experience that unless you say, here's the scalpel. Because what's going to happen is he's going to say, hey, there's this thing here. And you're like, nah, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just not going to go to the doctor. And so whenever we allow him, whenever we embrace the suffering, it is saying, okay, God, I don't want to, or it's the posture I talked about at the end of Voices. It's not, why are you doing this, God? It's, okay, why are you doing this?
Right.
I want to be curious and not critical. I want to trust you for what you're going to do. And to me, whenever I've seen over time that I do that, I know what's on the other side of it. And so it doesn't make the suffering any easier or the pain any less, but the rejoicing comes from knowing he is a great physician and he is a healer who's going to heal this one way or another.
He healed Jesus.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That just the full trust. And that is where we get there.
Excellent. Great way to end a really good podcast.
Yeah,
so
man.
Thank you for filling in for Pastor Jason this weekend. And
here to help.
We'll be talking about 1 Corinthians or 1 Corinthians, as the rest of the world calls it. for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
This is what I keep saying this will wrap it up. This is what I love our church. I just can't wipe the smile off my face when I'm here. And one of the things I love about our church is that we faithfully go through the Bible. We don't avoid anything. And there's going to be some stuff in 1 Corinthians that
It's tricky.
a lot of pastors would avoid because they don't want controversy. They don't. I wouldn't even say controversy. They don't even want to deal with the emails.
I would say this. They're more afraid of losing influence than they are of faithfulness.
Yeah, that's good. That's the best way to wrap it up. If you want a transcript of the podcast, write everything down we said, unless you're on YouTube and there is an actual transcript. Okay, you know what happens now.
Buckle up, everybody.
Our producer is Brian Damerow. Our video technician is the king, Keon Sadiji. Our key grip is Jakub Puszczykowski. Our film director today, making his appearance in the studio, Marcos
No, try again.
I can't.
Guardiola.
There it is. Hopefully Guardiola is not in the Bible that I narrate. Oh, gosh. I won't be able to say it.
Marcos is he might put something in our drinks later.
Our head of doctrine and theology is theologian. Our chief evangelist is salvation. Our backsliding prevention officer is lukewarm. Our director of Swedish witnessing is Bjorn again.
Golly.
Our expert on Russian eschatology is Pitov Hell. Our director of holiness is mortification. Our staff counselor, very busy, Les Moody. Our giving coordinator is generosity. Our nativity coordinator, she's from France. Her name is Bethlehem. Our co-pastors of plagues are Manny Locusts and Lance Boyles. Our sabbatical director is Trip Long. Our missional expert is Sam Aria. Our resident Trinitarian is Holly Spirit. Our strategist for the final battle is Irmageddon. Our resident prayer warrior is Neil Down.
I can't, bro.
Our executive director of spiritual warfare is Demonic.
Jeez.
You know D.
Yeah.
Our head of our new AI initiative is Artie Fischel. Our director of Old Testament covenants was knighted, Sir Comsize. Our video technician in charge of instant replay is Slow Moses. Our resident feline expert is Bartholomew, also known as Catthaniel.
I think I hate this so much, man. Golly.
Our director of New Testament baptism, Phil D. Tubb. And our new one, this goes back to what you talked about in Voices and Hanukkah and the Maccabees, the head of the arts and crafts department, Judah Macrame.
My face hurts.
Macrame. As we always say to end the podcast, trust God and take a nap. See you next time.
See y'all.